Hello everyone, warm welcome to Super Coaching Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. मेरा नाम है माधव अरोड़ा. I welcome you all in a very important session. We call it as Finance Current Affairs. In this session, we don't only cover the banking updates, the financial world updates, but also we discuss in much detail the RBI circulars, RBI press release, RBI official speeches, RBI publications, and whatnot. So before we start with the discussion, may I have a reply in the comment section that yes, I am audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. And I assure you, as always, this session is again going to be really very helpful for all those candidates who are preparing for RBI as well as other regulatory body exams. Okay, everything is fine. So let's not waste time. We are already late by 5-6 minutes. So let's begin. If you want to download the PDF of this particular session, this PDF is available on my Telegram channel. You can just scan the code, or my handle is @Madhav. You can join the Telegram channel in order to download the PDF after the session ends. Moving on to the next. So the first news from where I'm going to start my discussion is related to ECB. This is not the first time that we are discussing about ECB. I hope आपको याद होगा external commercial borrowings के बारे में we have discussed in the past as well. So the first point is why this news has been shortlisted in this particular session. So the news has been shortlisted because this external commercial borrowings is one of the important financial concepts whenever we talk about the financial status of an economy. Secondly, external commercial borrowings, they always remain in news, but yes, recently, if you remember, we have discussed the news related to Adani group of companies. If you can name the company. So the name of the company was Adani Airports Holding Limited, which has raised approximately $750 million through external commercial borrowing from a custodian of international banks, if you remember. So that $750 million, that particular value was important. And next reason why we are discussing this external commercial borrowing wala part is because recently in the RBI 2024-25 annual report, there was a data shared related to the external commercial borrowing, and this data was shared for the term that is net. The term or the data which was shared was net inflows. That was net inflows under external commercial borrowings, which has increased to India, or which has increased in India to a value of $18.7 billion. $18.7 billion in the financial year 2024-25, which was only $3.6 billion in the previous year. तो ये point आप याद रखिएगा. That is the reason it is important. और ये net inflow का मतलब क्या है? Sir, outflow भी हुआ होगा. अब outflow is in the terms of return of the loan, or maybe the Indian entities who are providing loan to the foreign companies or the foreign entities. But when we talk about net inflows, it is the actual value which has been borrowed under the category of external commercial borrowings. ठीक है जी. Now let's come back to the news for which we are gathered over here. So the first news from where I'm going to start my discussion is related to one of the important companies. We call it as PSU, that is Public Sector Undertaking. It is a company with the title of Maharatan, and it is NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation. So National Thermal Power Corporation Limited, which is a public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Power, has raised unsecured means the borrowings which is going to be done from the foreign nations, from the foreign entities, will be without collateral. तो बिना किसी collateral के loan लिया जाएगा. We call it as unsecured borrowings. And what is the value of this unsecured borrowings? So the value of this unsecured borrowing is $750 million. और point है कि sir, this borrowed amount will be utilized for what purpose? So it will be utilized for capital expenditure in order to increase the capacity of the company, as well as to increase the, or in order to expand the renewable energy projects of National Thermal Power Corporation. ठीक है जी. अब यहाँ पर दो तीन चीजें हैं, दो तीन कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं जो कि काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है, which you need to understand with respect to this particular news. So the first concept is, as they say, the facility comprises of base issue, that is $500 million, and a green shoe option of $250 million। इसका मतलब क्या होता है? इसका मतलब ये है कि मान लो आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट एनटीपीसी, ठीक है जी। अब एनटीपीसी वांट्स टू बोरो द लोन, सो एनटीपीसी विल बी reaching to an investment banker, and this investment banker will help NTPC to issue its instruments, to issue the debt instruments to the foreign investors, or these debt instruments will be reached to the foreign investors, with the help of this investment banker. And the foreign investors, they will be investing in the debt instruments which are issued by NTPC through the investment banker. Remember that जो पहला base issue सोचा है, that means the decided base issue value is what? So that is $500 million. But if there is high demand, in order to compensate the high demand for the issue, कि आपने issue किए debt instruments and then you realized that the demand is increasing. The moment you realize that demand is increasing, then you have kept an option कि अगर demand बढ़ेगी तो भैया उस demand के बढ़ने पर we will be floating $250 million more. Demand के बढ़ने पर company will be floating $250 million more. So when you keep aside certain value of the securities, or you keep the certain value of the security reserve with you, and those securities are issued at the time of high demand, for the instrument which you have already issued or which you are already issuing, that is basically known as green shoe. Option. तो समझ आ गया बेस इशू क्या होता है, ग्रीन शू ऑप्शन क्या होता है? इफ इट इज क्लियर, जस्ट गिव मी यस सर. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट आई हैव इज डोर टू डोर टेनोर का क्या मतलब है, और एवरेज मेच्योरिटी का क्या मतलब है? जहां पे ये कहा गया डोर टू डोर टेन्योर इज 10 years एंड एवरेज मेच्योरिटी इज 7 years. तो यहां पे आपको ये कॉन्सेप्ट पता होना बहुत जरूरी है. व्हाट इज डोर टू डोर टेन्योर, व्हाट इज एवरेज मेच्योरिटी? After that, once I'll discuss these two concepts, remember that Bank of Baroda is the investment banker which is acting as the mandated lead arranger as well as the underwriter for $500 million of loan, and HDFC Bank is for the green shoe option, that is of $250 million of loan. ठीक. अब यहां पे याद रखिएगा कि सर लोन तो हमने लेना आउट ऑफ द नेशन, मतलब फॉरेन एंटिटी से, और ये दोनों बैंक्स वो हैं जिनका प्रेजेंस इंडिया में है. सो दे विल बी रेजिंग द फंड्स फ्रॉम द इंडियंस? नो सर, दे विल बी रेजिंग द फंड्स फ्रॉम द फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स ओनली. सो बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा, HDFC, they have executed the transaction through their International Financial Service Center banking unit. So they have executed the process of borrowing the loan for NTPC through their International Financial Service Center banking unit, which is based in Gift City, Gujarat. तो अगर आपको याद हो तो हमने ये बात की थी कि गुजरात में वी हैव अ गिफ्ट सिटी, और इस गिफ्ट सिटी में it is a international financial service center where the foreign investors they can invest in the Indian securities, and even the Indians they can invest in the foreign securities. So you, in your opinion, in your context, you can think gift city in a very simple manner is a place where foreign investment can be done pretty easily in the Indian assets, and Indian investment can be done pretty easily in the foreign assets. In order to provide this service, we have International Financial Service Center. समझ आई बात? क्लियर हो गया ये पॉइंट? तो आओ जरा कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स मैं आपको पढ़ा देता हूं. सबसे पहला कॉन्सेप्ट है डोर टू डोर और एवरेज मेच्योरिटी वाला. देन आई हैव अ कॉन्सेप्ट की मैंडेटेड लीड अरेंजर क्या होता है. देन आई हैव अ कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्कशन की अंडर राइटर क्या होता है. एंड देन I have a concept discussion कि actually ये जो ECB का प्रोसेस है, that means external commercial borrowing का जो entire process है, वो कैसे परफॉर्म किया जाता है. So if you are up for it, just give me yes sir, so that we can first quickly discuss the concepts. Once the concepts are clear, then we'll read the news. And remember that जो मैं अभी concepts आपके साथ discuss करने वाला हूँ, these concepts are going to help you in 3 news फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन. तो मैं 3 न्यूज ऐसी लेके आया हूं जो कि इंटरकनेक्टेड है, और उन तीनों न्यूज को समझने के लिए, उन तीनों न्यूज को कंप्लीट करने से पहले लेट्स कवर सम ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स रिलेटेड टू द सेम. सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट, वन सेकेंड, just a second guys. Just hold on for a while. I think there is some issue with the PPT. Give me a second. I'm not able to scroll it up. Just give me a second. I'll sort it out and then we'll continue with the discussion. Okay, so please let me know in the comment section. The PDF is clear to you? Now the PDF is visible. Can I have a reply, please? Okay. Now let's quickly discuss the concepts. So the concepts related to this particular news is the first concept we talk about is door-to-door tenure, and the second concept we talk about is that is average maturity. अब question ये है कि sir what is the difference? What actually these two terms have been referred in the news. So in the news it has been said that door-to-door tenure is 10 years and the average maturity is 7 years in a loan agreement. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये है कि लोन का जो total life है, the total tenure of the loan is 10 years, but on average the principal will be paid in 7 years. On an average, principal will be paid in 7 years. There are few reasons why we use the word door-to-door tenure and average maturity. Please pay attention. Let's suppose there is an individual and this individual has borrowed loan from the bank, and from the bank this borrowing has been done for 10 years and he is liable to pay back the principal as well as interest in the period of 10 years. So in this particular case, what is the door-to-door tenure? So that is 10 years. What is the average maturity of the loan? So the maturity of the loan is again 10 years because you are going to repay the loan in 10 years itself. But let's suppose an individual has borrowed the funds from the bank, and while borrowing, bank comes up with a statement that we are ready to give you a loan for 10 years, which includes 7 years of loan period where you are supposed to pay back the principal, but we are offering you a grace period of 3 years. तो जब आपने ग्रेस पीरियड ऑफर कर दिया 3 years का, तो टोटल टेन्योर ऑफ लोन कितना हो गया? 10 years. But actually there is a try, there will be I would say best possible chances that your principal will be repaid in 7 years. So यहाँ पे NTPC is saying, or NTPC is borrowing the loan for an average period of 7 years only, but the tenure of the loan is 10 years, where NTPC is taking up a grace period of 3 years कि अगर मुझे लगा at the time of repayment, if I don't possess the funds, then I will be using the facility of the term that is known as grace period. I will be using the facility that is known as grace period. तो जब आप grace period को add करते हैं in the total time, you add the grace period with the time period required to pay back the principal, then the sum of grace period and time period required gives you the door-to-door tenure. So in this case, door-to-door tenure is of 10 years. As you see, door-to-door tenure is of 10 years, but the average maturity will be 7 years. Now the next point we have is, sir, you have used the term mandated lead arranger as well as underwriter, and these terms have been used for the banks which are involved. One of the bank is Bank of Baroda, and the other bank which we are talking over here is that is HDFC Bank. So please pay attention. Mandated lead arranger and underwriter is the facility provided by a financial institution, typically an investment bank, which plays a really very important role in case of syndicated loan. So basically they secure the mandate from the borrower to arrange and underwrite the loan, meaning that they are committed to provide the initial financing and then work to syndicate the loan to the lenders. समझ आई ये बात? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ सर? यहाँ पे ये जो वर्ड है ना, mandated and underwriter, यहाँ पे ये जो mandated और underwriter facility है, it is basically a title given to the financial institutes, and generally the investor bankers, they perform the functions of mandated lead arranger as well as underwriter, especially in case of syndicated loan. Syndicated loan का मतलब क्या होता है? When there are n number of parties, they come together to provide a loan to a single party, जिसमें lender multiple है but we have single borrower, so that type of loan is basically known as syndicate loan. Now what is this mandate and role? सर जो borrower है, borrower जो है ये हमारे केस में कौन है? NTPC. So NTPC जो है that will provide a mandate to the Bank of Baroda, या it will provide mandate to HDFC, granting them the authority to structure and arrange the loan. तो NTPC ने mandate किया कि मेरे behalf पर loan will be arranged by Bank of Baroda or loan will be arranged by HDFC Bank. This mandated lead arranger is responsible for negotiating the long terms, or I would say the loan terms with the borrower and secure the initial funding. तो ये जो बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा है ये सामने जाएगा borrowers के सामने और borrowers के साथ negotiate करेगा, और उस negotiation के बाद the borrowing will be arranged. So then they work to syndicate the loan, selling the portion of the other banks and investors to reduce their own risk. तो फिर धीरे धीरे वो क्या होगा? They will be selling out or they will be issuing more and more securities to different borrowers in order to reduce their own risk. But there is a point which is known as underwriting. Underwriting का मतलब क्या होता है सर? Underwriting का मतलब है the investment institution which is in picture, which is in context of discussion, that particular bank, for example, in our example, that is Bank of Baroda या फिर HDFC Bank, is acting as an underwriter. Underwriter का मतलब ये हुआ कि सर मैं आपको लोन अरेंज करके दूंगा of $500 million, मैं आपको लोन अरेंज करके दूंगा of $250 million. If in any case this loan is not arranged, don't worry, I myself will purchase those instruments. I give you the guarantee that I will be purchasing those instruments if I would not be able to issue those instruments in the market. तो MLA जो है वो mandate करेगा underwrite the entire loan, meaning they commit to provide the full amount even if they cannot immediately borrow it from the external resources. So this demonstrates their commitment to deal and encourage the other lenders to participate. एक term आया बार-बार मैंने use किया, syndication. Syndication is basically a process of selling the parts of the loan to the other lenders. For example, Bank of Baroda is selling the parts of this $500 million of loan to the external lenders. So this process is known as syndication, where a single borrower is borrowing from multiple sources. So this process is known as syndication. So what are the key responsibilities of this mandated lead arranger? सर ये जो mandated lead arranger है इस डील में या underwriter है, उसकी key responsibilities क्या है? सबसे पहली responsibility है they will structure the loan. कैसा लोन होगा, कितना टाइम पीरियड होगा, क्या कंडीशंस होगी. देन दे विल नेगोशिएट विद द बोरोवर. आफ्टर दैट they are responsible for underwriting the loan. They will be managing the syndication process and they will be acting as an agent. They will be acting as an agent to the borrower in order to handle all the administrative tasks. अब क्वेश्चन है कि so why they are performing all these responsibilities? They are performing these responsibilities in order to earn return. And what is the return they are earning? So fees they charge against the services they are providing. समझ आ गई बात? कहानी क्लियर हुई? एक बार क्विकली मैं इसे कंक्लूड कर देता हूं. What I'm trying to say is NTPC को लोन बोरो करना and there is a foreign investor who wants to lend loan to NTPC, but they don't know how to reach each other. So NTPC will first hire an investment banker. For example, they have hired Bank of Baroda, and with the help of its International Financial Service Center banking unit, it has issued the debt instruments, or it has issued the format that NTPC is looking forward for a loan. And if you are interested, you can lend your funds to NTPC through this particular format. So यहाँ पर ये जो organization है which I am referring over here, Bank of Baroda, it act as a mandated lead arranger and underwriter. ये जो word है ना lead arranger, why we use this word lead? Because we have single amount or we have single borrower, but the lenders we have, they are multiple lenders. अब multiple lenders हैं तो multiple lenders के बीच में और single borrower के बीच में जो connect है, that connect is basically lead arranger, which basically arrange these multiple lenders so that the entire amount can be lended by the entire amount can be borrowed by the respective borrower. समझ आ गई बात? क्लियर हो गया ये पॉइंट? इज दिस पॉइंट क्लियर? चेतन, आपका भी पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया? कस्टोरियम लोन, सिंडिकेशन लोन, पॉइंट इज क्लियर? इफ यस, जस्ट गिव मी यस. विल देयर बी एनी पेनल्टी फॉर पेइंग बैक आफ्टर एवरेज मैच्योरिटी डेट? नहीं, जब आपने पहले ही डिसाइड कर लिया और पहले ही अनाउंस कर दिया दैट आई विल बी पेइंग ऑन एन एवरेज इन 7 years, बट इफ नॉट देन आई विल बी यूजिंग अ ग्रेस पीरियड ऑफ 3 years, और उस 3 years के ग्रेस पीरियड में आई विल बी पेइंग यू द इंटरेस्ट. आई विल बी पेइंग यू द इंटरेस्ट. दैट्स इट. Is it clear, Aditi? Chalo. Moving on to the next and the most important part, that is external commercial borrowings. You know what? ये जो point है ना external commercial borrowings, इसमें दो routes available है. The first route is automatic route and the second route is approval route. What is the difference between the two? Automatic route का मतलब है when an Indian entity ये वो entity है which is seeking for external commercial borrowing. So this Indian entity will reach to the authorized dealer category 1, generally the banks. So ये जाएंगे उन authorized dealer category 1 के पास, और ये जो borrower है, borrower will approach to the bank authorized to handle the foreign exchange transaction with a proposal and a duly filled in form ECB. Now ये जो AD bank है, that is the authorized dealer bank, will examine the proposal, और proposal examine करने के बाद अगर उनको लगेगा कि हाँ this is the proposal under the automatic route only and no RBI prior approval is required, then this particular authorized dealer will arrange the loan from the foreign entities. This is known as automatic route. But what is approval route? Approval route basically means the moment you will raise your request with the authorized dealer, first authorized dealer will go to RBI and RBI will examine the application. If RBI examines the application and RBI finds that application is fine, then RBI gives the approval to the authorized dealer, and then this authorized dealer will arrange the funds. Then this authorized dealers will arrange the funds and make the required foreign exchange in case of approval route. So ECB जो है, it is also available in two routes. One we have is automatic route and the other one we have is approval route. इसमें कुछ criteria है. The first term is eligibility. Who are eligible? So certain entities like companies, infrastructure finance companies, even the NGOs engaged in microfinances, they are eligible in external commercial borrowings. Secondly, we have the term that is end use. End use का मतलब है external commercial borrowings can be used for specific purpose such as investment in real estate sector or infrastructure or import of capital goods. It's up to you. So which currency is involved? Sir, external commercial borrowing can be borrowed in any freely convertible foreign currency. So whichever foreign currency which is freely convertible or which currencies free convertibility is allowed in India, that can be used or that can be employed in order to borrow the funds under the category of ECB. What is the maturity? So the minimum maturity period is specified by RBI. If you remember, the maturity period is 3 years. We have discussed in the previous session. All-in cost ceiling means there are restrictions on the maximum all-in cost ceiling. Borrowing limits, the individual limit for raising the external commercial borrowing under automatic route is different and it is predefined by RBI. Loan registration number basically means this is the number which is required for external commercial borrowings and this is obtained from RBI. So आप RBI से ये number obtain करेंगे and then only you can raise the funds. We call it as external commercial borrowings. समझ आ गए सारे concepts? अगर ये सारे concepts clear है, if this entire concept is clear, now let's read out Now let's read out this news. I'm pretty sure कि न्यूज समझ आ जाएगी. Base issue $500 million, green issue option $250 million. Who is mandated lead arranger and underwriter for base issue? Bank of Baroda. For green issue portion, HDFC. How they are issuing? So they are going to issue this, or they are going to arrange the loan for NTPC from their International Financial Service Center banking unit, which is in Gift City, Gujarat. इसमें एक और point है which I would like to add. Sir, NTPC will be using this fund for the expansion of its energy portfolio, जहां पे NTPC has a strategic vision that NTPC will achieve. ये point question बन सकता है examination का. NTPC has a target to achieve 60 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2032, as well as elevate its total installed capacity from 80 gigawatts to 130 gigawatts, as well as to elevate its total installed capacity from 80 gigawatts to 130 gigawatts. तो ये जो point है जो मैंने mark किया है, this is something holds a potential that it can be asked in the examination, or you can utilize this data while writing a descriptive answer as well. Clear हो गया जी? Done है? चलो अगली न्यूज जो है that is also on the same grounds, that is also related to external commercial borrowing. What does it say? Credit excess Grameen. Credit excess Grameen, India's largest non-banking financial company, Microfinance Institute. If you remember, recently Microfinance Institute was in news. Why Microfinance Institute was in news? Regarding their qualifying asset. Regarding their qualifying asset threshold. Do you remember? Earlier, the qualifying asset threshold was 35% of total asset, which has now reduced to 60% of the total asset. And what is qualifying assets? A qualifying asset basically means loan given to the household with yearly income of 3 lakh rupees plus loan is given without collateral. Yaad aa raha baat? I hope you remember this news. We have just discussed few days back. Okay, coming back to the current news. So the current news says Credit Excess Grameen, which is India's largest non-banking financial company, Microfinance Institute, has raised 100 million multi-currency syndicated social loan facility, which has been qualified as external commercial borrowing under the automatic route of Reserve Bank of India from the banks in South Asia as well as Far East Asia. Is this point clear? अब अगर आप पढ़ रहे हैं तो अब आपको पूरी की पूरी न्यूज पहले गो में समझ आ रही है. तो यहां पे आपको याद क्या रखना है? फर्स्ट थिंग इज यू नीड टू रिमेंबर एनटीपीसी $750 million of loan. $750 million of loan under the category of external commercial borrowing. Second news which you need to remember is CA Grameen secures $100 million of loan under external commercial borrowings again, but in this case it's a multi-currency loan. That means borrowing will be done in different currencies. Some part of the loan will be borrowed in US dollars and certain part will be borrowed in Japanese yen. Certain part will be borrowed in Japanese yen. बस इतनी ही न्यूज है that you need to remember. उसके अलावा nothing else is important. This is just for your reference. This is just for your reference. Nothing else you need to remember in this particular news. तो आप बार बार पूछते हैं कि सर जो आपने इतना डेटा दिया उसमें से क्या पढ़ना है, क्या याद रखना है? पूरी न्यूज में से ये 2 न्यूज याद रखनी है प्लस द कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्कशन विच आई हैव डन, वो याद रखना है. बाकी जो मैंने दिया जस्ट टू सेट द ग्राउंड, आपको समझ आ जाए कि व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. इसमें 2-3 चीजें बताता हूं. सीए ग्रामीण second loan facility है which is led by the bank had previously bid for CA Grameen's landmark $200 million syndicated ECB into 2023. 2023 में $200 million के लिए already bid कर चुके हैं. Now they are bidding for $100 million and this bidding is done with the help of a mandated lead arranger. Who is the mandated lead arranger for CA Grameen? So the mandated lead arranger for CA Grameen is Standard Chartered Bank, but for NTPC it was Bank of Baroda and it was HDFC. जो मैंने रेड पेन से लिख दिया, that is what you need to remember. लोन फैसिलिटी को पहले प्लान किया गया था, इनिशियल बेस साइज $70 million in November, but later इसे अपग्रेड किया गया टू $100 million। तो पहले जो टारगेट था इट वाज बेसिकली फॉर $70 million, बट नाउ द बोरिंग हैज बीन डन फॉर $100 million। Previously, I have already shared this notes with you. What is external commercial borrowing, how RBI approved the external commercial borrowing and everything. This data has been already shared and even this Adani news has been already covered. तो यहाँ पे अब हमारे पास 3 न्यूज हो गई, NTPC, एक न्यूज हो गई CA ग्रामीण, we have a news and we have a news that is Adani Airport Limited. Value ECB 750 million. Value here is $100 million. Value here is again $750 million. याद रहेगा? Is it sorted? Is it done? Give me a thumbs up so that I can move on to the next news. Just give me yes sir so that I can move on to the next news quickly, guys. The next news I have for you all is related to a term or related to an international organization which always remains in news, that is Asian Development Bank. So Asian Development Bank ने recently approve किया है a loan of around $100 million, और ये जो loan दिया गया of $100 million is given to the state that is Gujarat. So what is this loan about? Why this lending has been done? क्या benefit होगा, क्या outcome होगा, जल्दी से बात कर लेते हैं. So organization is Asian Development Bank. What is the value of loan? Sir, it is around $100 million to support Gujarat in shaping future ready workforce. So what is the agenda? Sir, it is basically to help Gujarat, to assist Gujarat ताकि गुजरात में future ready workforce को बनाया जा सके, so that Gujarat can become a global industrial hub, so that Gujarat can become a global industrial hub in the near future. अब इस पैसे को यूज कैसे करेंगे? सर, this $100 million will be utilized for Gujarat skill development program. So ये जो borrowing है that will be utilized for what purpose? Or it will be utilized for Gujarat skill development program, which is going to be led by, so this program is going to be led by Gujarat's labor skill development and employment department. So एक तो गुजरात गवर्नमेंट का labor skill development and employment department, और दूसरा एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है which is based in गांधीनगर गुजरात. The name is कौशल्या स्किल यूनिवर्सिटी. तो ये जो कौशल्या the skill university है along with the Gujarat government department, that is labor and skill development and employment department, they have collaborated to utilize $100 million in order to perform the program or in order to perform the services of Gujarat skill development program. Under this particular program, as the name suggests, होगा क्या कि सर जो गुजरात का यूथ है उस यूथ को एडवांस्ड इंडस्ट्री रेलिवेंट skills provide की जाएंगी, so that with the help of these I would say advanced and industry relevant skills, it will improve their job, or I would say it will increase the chances that they can score, the youth can secure the job, as well as the youth will become job ready. The state will become a hub of skilled labor or industry skilled labor or industry relevant labor, so that more and more industries can easily set up in Gujarat because of the abundance of relevant skilled available labor in the given area. So in order to reform the technical and vocational education and training system by creating scalable model for use in other Indian states as well. तो इस प्रोग्राम के तहत ये जो टेक्निकल एंड वोकेशनल एजुकेशन एंड ट्रेनिंग सिस्टम है उससे भी क्या किया जाएगा? इट विल ऑल्सो बी रिफॉर्म्ड, विच विल बिकम आई वुड से अ मॉडल which will be followed by the other states as well in the near future. What are the key areas? Focus areas will be, or the focus or 7 high priority industries will be logistic industry, automotive industry, manufacturing, IT, renewable energy, healthcare and agri-tech. Last but not the least is, under this program, courses will be aligned with the National Education Policy 2020 as well as GSDP. What is this GSDP? Sir, Gujarat Skill Development Program 2025-2030. Easy है guys, समझ आ गया? न्यूज पक्का बनेगी यहाँ से. गुजरात स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम, कौशल्या द स्किल यूनिवर्सिटी, $100 million, एशियन डेवलपमेंट बैंक्स in order to provide industrial skills or industry relevant skills to the youth so that they can secure the job, and it will result in availability of highly skilled labor in the state of Gujarat so that Gujarat can become industrial hub in the near future or global industrial hub in the near future. Clear हो गया? Nothing more to discuss on this, and once we complete the session एक बार पढ़ लेना. Obviously ये न्यूज दोबारा पढ़ने की जरूरत पड़ेगी नहीं, और एग्जामिनेशन में जब आएगी फेज 1 में यू विल बी इन अ पोजीशन टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन फॉर श्योर. अगली न्यूज की ओर बढ़ते हैं. व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट न्यूज आई हैव फॉर यू? द नेक्स्ट न्यूज इज आरबीआई हैज डिसकंटिन्यूड डेली वेरिएबल रेपो रेट ऑक्शन ड्यू टू बैंकिंग लिक्विडिटी सरप्लस. अब पहले तो ये बैंकिंग लिक्विडिटी सरप्लस का क्या गेम है वो समझ लेते हैं. अगर आपको याद हो तो जनवरी 2025 या दिसंबर 2024 में बैंकिंग सेक्टर वाज विटनेसिंग द लिक्विडिटी क्राइसिस. फिर इन जनवरी 2025 आरबीआई proactively participated in order to overcome this particular issue where the banking sector was facing the liquidity crisis in the economy. So in that particular case, RBI, with the help of open market operation, with the help of variable repo rate, open market operation, variable repo rate, as well as US dollar and Indian rupee swap and even sale of or purchase of US dollar in order to increase the liquidity in the market. With all these steps, RBI has injected 9.25 lakh crore rupees in the economy. Now, once this liquidity is injected in the economy, obviously liquidity crisis खत्म हो गए. अब जैसे liquidity crisis खत्म हुए तो RBI ने कहा कि अब VRR की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Now you must be wondering, VRR की जरूरत नहीं है तो एक्चुअली VRR है क्या, और अगर VRR की जरूरत नहीं है तो what will be the alternative? So let me answer this question first and then I'll discuss the news with you. So first point is, so what do you understand by the word VRR? VRR stands for variable rate repo. Variable rate repo. Sir, हमने तो repo rate पढ़ा था. Now what is this variable rate repo? Give me 2 minutes and I'll explain this entire concept. After that, ये news और इससे related जो भी कोई news in near future, it will come in your path. You will be in a position to answer it for sure. So please pay attention on the screen and try to understand this point. Whenever we talk about RBI, we know that RBI is banker's bank, and in order to manage the liquidity, banks, they approach RBI in the way that bank can deposit its surplus with RBI. So this surplus can be deposited with RBI against government security and RBI will pay reverse repo rate. Banks can deposit their surplus with RBI without government security, but rate of interest will be SDF. SDF is very high in comparison to reverse repo rate. Now, if bank is in need of funds, then bank can borrow loan for 24 hours against government securities, and this borrowing is done against fixed rate of interest, that is repo rate, and this repo rate is prefixed by RBI. Similarly, if repo rate limits are exhausted, then bank can utilize its SLR and borrow the loan without security or indirect security, that is SLR, and that borrowing will be termed as MSF, or the rate of interest which bank is supposed to pay is known as marginal standing facility. This is the entire structure. I hope you know that. ठीक है. अब इसमें से RBI ने इंट्रोड्यूस किया वेरिएबल रेपो रेट. RBI ने क्या कहा? व्हाट इज वेरिएबल रेपो रेट और रेट रेपो? Variable rate repo basically means if a bank is in need of funds, then bank can approach to RBI, and the moment bank reaches to RBI, bank will participate in the auction, and bank will say, RBI, you are planning to provide 50,000 crore. Let's suppose RBI is planning to provide 50,000 crore rupees of loan to the banks against variable rate repo. So one of the bank, let's say bank A, approaches to RBI and raise the demand that RBI, I'm ready to borrow 10,000 crore rupees at a rate of interest below repo rate. What is repo rate today? That is 6%, and bank has quoted a rate that I'm ready to purchase. I'm ready to borrow the loan from RBI at 5.8%. Similarly, there will be Bank B. It will also participate in the auction. Bank C will also participate in the auction. And every bank will quote the rate of interest which they are ready to pay, but that rate of interest will be below repo rate only. Now the question is, why RBI is providing loan to the banks below repo rate? It's quite obvious. There was a situation of liquidity crisis in the economy. So in order to increase the liquidity in the market, RBI has come up with this particular facility. But now, as the things have improved over the period of time, now RBI is saying that if you want to borrow, you can borrow for 1 day on fixed rate of interest, that is repo rate only. You cannot borrow for 24 hours. If you want funds for 24 hours, you cannot borrow for 24 hours against variable rate repo. I'm not going to give you this facility because there is no need, there is no liquidity crisis, there is no liquidity issue in the market. So what is the current repo rate? So currently the repo rate is 5.5%. This was just an example. बाद में comment section में लिखते रहोगे कि सर आपने गलत repo rate बता दिया. It was just an example. I have corrected myself कि I know what is the current repo rate. ठीक है? तो variable repo rate क्या है? Sir, it is a tool which is used by RBI to manage the liquidity in the banking system. It involves banks borrowing funds from RBI by offering government security as collateral. Interest rate are determined through an auction. Daily VRR auctions, they were introduced back in January 2025, and it is always a temporary measure to address the liquidity tightness which was caused due to a number of factors like tax outflows, foreign exchange interventions, and whatnot. Now, what is the difference between repo rate and variable repo rate? So variable repo rate, interest rate is determined by auction, but repo rate is prefixed. Flexibility, it is highly flexible because bank bid as per the market dynamics. It is low flexible because it's one rate for every bank. What are the market responsiveness? So more responsiveness to the liquidity condition, less sensitive to the short-term volatility. It is conducted more during volatile periods. It is a regular liquidity window which is provided by RBI so that banks can borrow the funds from RBI in order to manage their day-to-day banking balances. Last but not the least is the actual news. So Reserve Bank of India has announced that RBI has discontinued its daily variable rate repo. Remember that daily variable rate repo auctions due to the surplus in the banking sector, which is around 2.75 to 3 lakh crore rupees, exceeding 1% of NDTL, and this is effective from 11th of June 2025. आपको एक चीज बताऊं, मेरे दिमाग में जो इस न्यूज को देखकर आया, I would like to share with you also. देखना जरा आप रिकॉल कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं. Do you remember in the previous sessions I discussed with you that RBI has reduced CRR from 4% to 3% and it will be implemented in 4 tranches? Do you remember that? And I said that due to the decrease in CRR by 1%, it will result in increase in liquidity in the market of around 2.5%, 2.5 lakh crore. तो ये जो 2.5 लाख करोड़ मार्केट में लिक्विडिटी आएगी, वो क्यों आएगी? एक एनडीटीएल रिजर्व्स कम कर दिया बैंक का, या 1% of NDTL reserves a bank can circulate in the economy rather than keeping with RBI. So which means 1% of NDTL of entire banking system of India is around 2.5 lakh crore. तो इसीलिए यहाँ पे क्या कहा गया कि सर आज की डेट में बैंक्स के पास जो लिक्विडिटी सरप्लस है, that is 2.75 to 3 lakh crores, which exceeds 1% of NDTL. तो ये 1% of NDTL से ज्यादा है, 2.75 to 3 lakh crore है, क्योंकि 1% of NDTL is around 2.5 lakh crores. कहाँ पढ़ा था हमने? So we have read this while we were discussing about the monetary policy. मजा आया? कनेक्ट हुई चीजें. ऐसे अगर आप कनेक्ट करोगे, you will be able to memorize the data. वो हमेशा आप कहते हो ना कि सर इतना सारा डेटा कैसे याद रखेंगे? अगर आप ऐसे रिलेट करेंगे, you will be in a position to memorize the data for sure. थोड़ी सी और बात कर लेते हैं. So RBI has decided to withdraw daily VRR, aligns with the objective to maintain neutral policy, because now RBI monetary policy has moved its stance from accommodative to neutral. So under the neutral stance, there's no need to come up with daily VRR because there is good liquidity surplus in the banking system of the country. But RBI wants that banks should rely more on call money market or tri-party repo operations, which will operate in a efficient manner in the current scenario. Recently, ये जो डिसीजन आरबीआई ने लिया, दिस डिसीजन हैज बीन टेकन ऑन 11th जून. अगर मैं आपको बताऊं 9th और 10th जून को आरबीआई ने 25,000 करोड़ का VRR अनाउंस किया that I am ready to give loan to the banks of total value 25,000 crores on 9th of June. उसके अगेंस्ट टोटल बोरोइंग पता कितने की हुई? उसके अगेंस्ट बैंक्स ने जो टोटल पैसा बोरो किया इवन बिलो रेपो रेट was around 3,500 crores. तो 25,000 करोड़ के बदले में if borrowing is done only around 10 to 15%, so there is no point running this particular window. So that is the reason, because of the 15 to 17% of the borrowing done in the past few days, RBI has decided to close this window. But RBI will continue with 14-day variable rate repo. RBI will even continue with open market operation and standing deposit facility. Is this point clear? ठीक है जी, सारी न्यूज क्लियर हो गई. अगली बार जब भी कहीं पढ़ोगे VRR, रेपो रेट क्यों बंद किया, क्यों होता है, सारी कहानी समझ आ जाएगी. This is the benefit of learning the things in a holistic manner. This will help you to retain the data for longer term. Last news of the day, I guess. Yes, last news of the day. A very short and simple news. NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, and Institute for Development and Research in Banking Technology, IDRBT. I hope you know that IDRBT is Hyderabad based Institute for Development and Research, and it is under the wholly owned subsidiary of RBI, that is IFTAS, along with Infinet, SFMS, Structured Financial Messaging System, and Banking Community Cloud. So these are the 4 entities which are operating under IFTAS, that is Indian, which is operating under IFTAS. Now, what is IFTAS? So IFTAS is basically the wholly owned subsidiary of RBI, and this institute is really very important, which we call it as IDRBT. अगर आपसे कोई पूछे UPI was developed by NPCI, but initiative and the R&D related to banking technology is all done by this particular institute only, which is mentioned on the screen. So IFTAS stands for Indian Financial Technology and Allied Services. Then we have Infinet, Indian Financial Network, Structured Financial Messaging System. Then we have Banking Community Cloud, and we have the next one that is on your screen. We call it as what? So we call it as IDRBT, that is Institute for Development and Research in Banking Technology. तो इस इंस्टीट्यूट का काम ही क्या है सर? इस इंस्टीट्यूट का काम है टेक्नोलॉजी development for the entire banking sector. Now it has collaborated with NPCI to enhance cybersecurity and resilience within India's rapidly changing or expanding digital payment landscape. तो इसमें कुछ highlights हैं. पहला, ये दोनों organizations मिलकर they will conduct targeted training programs for professionals. They will conduct targeted training programs for professionals in banking and payment system, focusing on cybersecurity, resilience, and data privacy. Second is develop a new NPCI certified payment security certification, which will be tailored to evolve regulatory and industrial needs. So develop करेंगे new NPCI certified payment security. And lastly, extend IDRBT's Indian Bank Center for Analysis of Risk and Threat. So IDRBT का एक सेंटर है, that is Indian Bank's Center for Analysis of Risk and Threat. ये threat intelligence services provide करेगा to NPCI and its ecosystem partners, providing we can say that providing the whole and soul or a concrete fight against the cyber threats which are faced today. So आपको क्या क्या याद रखना है इसमें? You have to sign, remember the name of the two companies which have signed the MOU, and this MOU has been signed for what purpose, what all steps will be taken, training wala part, new certification wala part, and this center will extend the services to NPCI in order to counter the cyber threats. समझ आ गया? No, it is always and always less than VRR. VRR is always less than repo rate, क्योंकि repo rate पे तो फिर मिल ही रहा है, फिर मैं ऑप्शन में जाऊंगा ही क्यों? I'm participating in auction because I'm getting a benefit. It is always less than repo rate, at max equal to repo rate, obviously not more than that, and it cannot be less than reverse repo rate. तो ये reverse repo rate और repo rate के बीच में रहता है, और अगर मैं और specifically कहूँ, it generally remains between repo rate and SDF, standing deposit facility. Is it clear? So I hope all the news which we have discussed today are crystal clear. So we have 3 news related to external commercial borrowings. Door-to-door tenure समझ आ गया, average maturity समझ आ गई, mandated lead arranger and underwriter समझ आ गए. What are the routes of external commercial borrowings, that is clear. And along with that, 3 news related to external commercial borrowing is clear. One is related to NTPC, other one is Credit Access Grameen, the one of the largest MFIs of the country. And then the next news is related to ADB and Gujarat, $109 million. Then last news is, or second last news is, RBI has discontinued with variable rate repo. And last one is the tie-up between NPCI and IDRBT. Clear? So I will be sharing this PDF after some time on the Telegram channel. You can download the PDF from the Telegram channel, which is presented on the screen. Don't forget to hit the like button before leaving. I hope you must have enjoyed the discussion, and do share the answers of the MCQs which I will be sharing with you in the PDF, and you need to share those answers. You need to share those answers in the comment section below after the class completes, after you download the PDF. Thank you so much. Thank you. Aniruddha, थोड़ा सा टाइम और, 1-2 दिन का टाइम और दे दीजिए. I'll ask my team to schedule those sessions so that you can have the visibility कि कब कब कितने कितने कौन कौन से sessions होने वाले हैं, so that we can complete the annual report. Don't worry. Give me 2 more days and everything will be on YouTube itself. Don't worry. Fine. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you soon. Bye-bye. Take care. Good luck. God bless you.